Hi, my name is Hans Erickson, and welcome to Part 10 in clothing simulations in Maya. And I've run this up to about a frame 144. I ran it further before, and the cloth sim that I got right now, it isn't my favorite, but it's not terrible. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I think I'm going to stop tweaking. Truth is, it takes quite a while to get these cloth settings just exactly the way that you want. I did make a couple little changes, and I want to show that to you. One thing is I found that I'm going to turn on the FX group here so that you can see. There we go. Let's go H to unhide. And I went ahead and I was having trouble writing through here. The vest was riding up on his body and showing his belly button, so I went ahead and nailed that down. The other thing that I think I would do is I would actually take and run a few more points down this way to kind of help just to kind of help keep it from pulling and separating so much. I do want it to kind of free float a little bit at the bottom, but not as much as it's doing. The other thing I think I would do is nail this collar down, the outer rim of this collar, and go ahead and use a dynamic constraint and dynamic constrain it to this coat. And the reason I think I would do that is quite simply this collar tends to be a little stiff anyways, and at least for that period, and I don't like it flapping up like that. But other than that, I'm just going to kind of leave it alone. Let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an interactive render, but in order for you to see that, I'm going to have to move this out of the way and bring in bring in it. That's what it's called for. That's the name of it, it render for render man. And so I'm going to stick this over here. I'm going to enable the VPR render or the IPR renderer. And you can see here it's really not too bad. I got a little intersection you can see right there. But it's not riding up anymore. This looks fairly good right through here. Like I say, there's still some problems. This little area right in here doesn't look the greatest, but for the purpose of this tutorial, it'll work. If I were to do this in a production setting, I would definitely want to spend a lot more time getting this just absolutely perfect, but I think we're just going to call it a day on this. I'm going to go ahead and stop this render here. And I'm just going to stop that all together. I'm going to bring this back over here, and I'm going to set everything back to the beginning. The other thing that I highly suggest doing, and let me turn that FX group off, right here you can see where I had added it again, the vest to the body, and I just call it vest to body 2. And you know, I think I'm going to just take a couple seconds and do that one thing. Let me come up here and go to the collar sim and come over here. Let's bring out the cloth sim and that's all I'm going to need is a cloth sim. Alright, let me center that by hitting F. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edge Select here, Hopefully this doesn't select everything. Oops. Selected more than I want it to select. It'll just take me a second to do this. So I'm going to select here, 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 here. I'm going to select this all the way around, and if anybody knows any good jokes, they can tell it right now. This is going to take a couple seconds, but not terribly long. I just think this collar will behave a lot better if I do this. Like I say, these collars are fairly stiff back then. I also changed that collar to heavy denim, and that helped quite a bit. I added a lot of damp to it, and I'll show you those settings here in just a second. And let me see, how far shall I take this? I'll take it to there and to there. That looks good. Then I'll control and to vertices, and I'm going to shift select this coat, and in the FX column here I'm going to go constraint and point to surface, and there we go. I think that'll just really help. I think the other thing that I was thinking of doing, and I'll rename that here, but you can see it right here. In fact, let's call it boy, 10-year-old, collar, C-O-L-A, collar to jacket, J-A-C-K-E-T. That way we know what these constraints are for. There's nothing worse than trying to guess what is what. When everything's well named and ordered, you know exactly what belongs where, and we'll throw that into the FX group. And I think the only other thing that I would do is here, I think I'd run that down just a little bit further. If I go edge and grab here and here, let's say right about down to here. We'll do the same thing to this side here. Oops. Control Z. And that looks good. Let's go control, click, vertices to vertices. And I'm not going to attach it to the body. I'm going to attach it to this vest here, which doesn't want to select, so I'll do it from the outliner, and do that with a control click, and in constraint, point to surface. There we go. And that'll be boy, 10-year-old, and that'll be coat to vest, and I'll get rid of the one because it doesn't need to be there. There we go. And I'll run this up into the FX group. I'm going to close that off, and because I don't like looking at the little dots, I'm just going to hit H and hide them. Okay. Let's go ahead and turn on the Cloth Beauty, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to leave the Cloth Beauty on, and I'm going to dump this here. Oh, I was going to show you one other thing here. Let's turn on the cloth simulation. If you look at the pants here, or let's look at the vest, one thing that you can do is once you kind of tweak this exactly the way that you want, one thing that you can do is you can go to your attribute editor, go to presets, and save end cloth preset. And once you do that, that'll be boy 10-year-old end cloth shape, and it'll tell you exactly what it is, and we'll save attribute to preset. And I already have one there, but we'll just go ahead and overwrite it. And then if you happen to make a bunch of changes and that you see that you really don't like the changes, or if you have to build a whole new model, you don't have to go through all this trying to figure out all these things again. You can just go ahead and apply that preset. You can see it right sitting right here. 10-year-old boy, coat sim, cloth shape. And I can add that now. But it's exactly the same, so I won't. But that is a super thing to do. So let's go ahead and come back over here. We'll grab the cloth body, or beauty, and we're going to select everything. And we're going to save out this cache file. And let me see. Now I'm going to add the body beauty. And I'm going to go cache, geometry cache, and create new cache. And let's go ahead and open up that folder there. Let's step back one. You can see that I have the 10-year-old boy animation, or 10-year-old boy cloth sim. I'm going to call this one boy 10-year-old, we'll call this clothing cache, clothing simulation. Okay, I'll just call it that. Probably need a little better organization than that, but this will work. And we're going to hit open. And again, it's going to be one file per geometry. We're going to go times, well, let me see. I forget how long this animation is, but we'll go ahead and just run it to, I think it was 940 or something like that. So I'll just change this to 940 here. And all I have to do now is hit create. And now it's just going to run through and do this thing. Now this is going to take a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here. And when we come back, this animation, all of this cloth simulation will be completely exported out, and then we can import it all into our shot file, and you're going to just see how wonderful this is going to work. So I'll be talking to you later, and I'll get back to you as soon as this is done.